Mom lined up the gift bags on the picnic table like a raffle. Blue tissue paper, little lanyards peeking out. It was our annual Cousin's Day cookout in her backyard in Parma. She'd set the sprinkler for the little kids. The grill smoked, and someone had put on a playlist from 2008. "Okay, grandkids only," she said, tapping a spoon against her iced tea. Everyone hushed like she was handing out medals. My son Sam stood beside me with his hands tucked into his pockets. He was home for the weekend, lanky in a burrowed Cleveland Guardians hoodie, his graduation cap still in its box in the backseat of my car. Mom called the names one by one. Nephews and nieces took their bags. Cedar Point season passes. My sister squealed, like she hadn't texted me the link last month with, "Could you grab these? You know you always get the deals." The kids cheered. Sam smiled at them. His face did that polite, closed thing it did when a room went cold to him. Mom reached for the last bag and then paused. She glanced at me. "This is for the baby. He'll grow into it," she said, handing it to my other sister for her toddler. Sam didn't get a bag. He looked at me and then at the table. I watched him swallow. He stepped back like it didn't matter, like it was normal. "Sam's basically an adult," my brother joked. "He can drive you all there." People laughed, and the laughter snagged on me like a burr. "It's fine," Sam said too softly. "Grandma, don't worry." But I saw the blue cards tucked behind the tissue. The passes were adult passes. They were lanyards. They were for everyone else's kids, plus a bonus one for a baby who wouldn't use it this year. The number of cards matched the number of bodies they cared about. My hands went cold and damp. It felt stupid to be shaking over a theme park, over plastic. But it wasn't plastic. It never was. "Sandra," Mom said, noticing me finally. "You good? Can you take a picture?" She pushed her phone into my hand and turned back to the giggling swarm. My son stepped out of frame so he wouldn't block anyone. I took the picture. I didn't say anything. I pressed my tongue to the roof of my mouth so it wouldn't betray me. I thought I should have known. I'm Sandra. I was 42 then, living in Cleveland Heights. I'm a registered dietitian, not the influencer kind, the spreadsheet kind. I worked in a clinic near University Circle, did counseling for diabetes and cardiac rehab, and gave a lot of talks about fiber. I had a modest 2-bedroom, a reliable Toyota, and one kid I loved more than anything. Sam was my quiet one. He read on road trips, he held doors, he always cleared his own plate. He could do a beautiful free throw and a whole model of the solar system from memory when he was 6. His dad left when he was 3, then drifted in and out for a couple of years, and then just out. It was me and Sam and then the rest of my family. I was the good daughter. It started small. I stayed local. I had a stable job. I said yes. When Mom's water heater went, I put $900 on my AMX and didn't ask for the money back. When my brother got laid off, I moved him to my Verizon plan because family plans are cheaper. When my sister decided her apartment needed new floors for the baby, I charged $1,200 at Home Depot and spent 2 weekends on my knees learning to use a mallet. A few years ago, Mom added me as a joint owner on a house account. It sounded practical. That way, you can transfer money for the mortgage and utilities. It's easier than me asking. She said it like it was doing me a favor. I set up automatic transfers. $400 on the 1st for the gas and electric, $250 on the 15th for property taxes and escrow. I also Venmo'd $75 most Sundays after church for Mom's groceries because don't you want me to have fresh fruit? It came to around $1,100 a month, sometimes more when something urgent came up. It became muscle memory. Log in, approve, screenshot the confirmation. Money as apology. Money as love language. Meanwhile, Sam was always extra to them. He didn't have our last name. No one said it like a slur. They said it like a period. At Christmas, Mom hung stockings with all her grandkids' names hand-stitched by her friend from Crochet Club. The first year, Sam's was misplaced. The second year, she told me she didn't want to assume his style. I brought a plain red stocking and wrote his name in gold marker myself. It clashed. At birthdays, Sam was the cousin asked to take pictures. At Easter, he stood to the side and handed out eggs to the younger ones. When he made All-Ohio academic team his sophomore year at community college, we brought the little certificate to Sunday dinner. Mom smiled and said, "So, when are you getting a real job?" When my nephew hit a home run in t-ball, there was a cake with his jersey number in blue frosting and a candle that sang. I kept helping. Flights for them to visit Florida. She gets points. Mom told everyone like it was a charity that made itself. New roof on the house, $8,500, will pay you back. They didn't. I covered the deposit for my nephew's trampoline park party the year before this one. $600. Because my sister's card had a fraud alert. I brought extra socks for the kids. I brought cupcakes when the cake was too small for the number of surprise guests. And Sam grew and did his work quietly. He got into a state university on a scholarship he earned with grades and volunteer hours at the neighborhood food pantry. He commuted to save money. He came home after labs, and he cooked dinner with me. He sent his grandparents texts with pictures of campus. Sometimes they answered with a heart emoji. Sometimes they didn't. The humor shifted when I started saying no. My brother asked me to co-sign a car loan after totaling the last one. I said no. I love you, but I can't be on another loan. And a silvery frost formed over family group chats. My sister messaged me, "You've changed now that Sam is in college." Mom asked why I couldn't be generous without making it a spreadsheet. They had started scheduling things without looking at Sam's calendar. "He's busy," they said, like that excused not inviting him. "He's always at school," like it was a personality flaw. So, when my sister, the planner, picked the same Saturday in May for her son's 6th birthday party that Sam's university had announced as graduation day months earlier, it felt like a mistake at first. Calendars clash. It happens. I texted, "Hey, we can do brunch before, then we have to go to Sam's ceremony at 1 p.m. She didn't answer for 2 days, and then said, "The party is 1 to 4. That's prime slot. Just pop over after." Then Mom called me from her kitchen. You could always hear her kitchen on the phone, the fridge humming, the wall clock, the dog's nails on linoleum. "Your son's graduation isn't important," she said. Matter of fact, like she was telling me about trash day. "Your nephew's birthday party is the same day. That's priority. You know how kids are. He'll be crushed if you're not there." There was a silence in me, and then a slow heat. "He's 6, I said carefully. "He will be excited about cake at any hour." "And Sam is basically already a man," Mom said. "It's a piece of paper and a hat. He'll have more graduations. Your nephew turned 6 once." I watched the lines on my hand sharpen around the phone. I stared at the balance in my head. That wasn't numbers for once. "I understand. We're going to graduation," she sniffed. "Bring the extra chairs tomorrow for Cousin's Day," she said. "Your brother doesn't have enough." I brought the chairs. I watched them hand out Cedar Point passes to grandkids only. I breathed through my nose and took the picture. I stood there in my own mother's yard, feeling like an unpaid intern at my family. They'd been punishing me since I started saying no, and they wanted me to pay for my own punishment. Graduation day came in a blur of rented gowns and bobby pins. I ironed Sam's shirt at 7 a.m., while coffee boiled over on the stove. "Mom, it's fine," he laughed, dabbing at the mess with paper towels. I took too many pictures in the parking lot, and he grinned and said, Okay. He was valedictorian of his college, first in our family to graduate with a 4-year degree. He'd been chosen to speak because his professors loved that he tutored other students and because his GPA glowed. He'd called his grandfather last week to tell him. "Nice," Dad had said. "Do you need a ride to your cousin's party?" The arena smelled like new rubber and carnations. Names echoed. Applause came in waves. When Sam stepped up to the podium, black robe, that floppy hat we saved up the deposit for, something went loose in my chest. He waved once, small, and then looked down at his notes. His voice was steady. He spoke about what it was like to be first in a family to do a thing, and how first doesn't mean better. It just meant you had to guess a lot. He spoke about our city, our bus lines, the cafeteria lady who let people pay later, the janitor who gave him a ride when the RTA was snowed in. He thanked the people who showed up, his professors, his friend Louise who dragged him to office hours, the neighbor who lent her ladder so he could clean our gutters when I worked late. And then he said, "My mom," and I heard my name, and the arena blurred because my eyes did. He didn't mention Grandma. He didn't lie in public. I filmed it shaking, not with anger this time, but with some animal thing. Pride and relief and grief all mixed. I posted a clip later because my friends had been rooting for him since he was 12. The video did what videos sometimes do. A professor shared it. A Cleveland account shared it. Then an education group shared it. By evening, it had 4.7 million views. My phone turned into a slot machine of hearts. Everyone loved the part about the cafeteria lady. We drove home past the little party that had filled my mother's house. The front yard was a pile of shoes and folding chairs. Balloons in the shape of 6 bobbed in the breeze. My sister had gone with dinosaur plates this year. I could see the cedar point lanyards around little necks. Everyone was standing around the cake on the picnic table that I had paid for last year and had said I couldn't do this year. It was fine. They had found someone else, or charged it. A part of me, small, mean, wondered who would clean up. We ate takeout Thai on the floor because our table was covered in cards and my kid's cap and a tassel that kept falling off the lamp. My phone buzzed and buzzed. I put it face down. I wanted to stay in the soft. Then my sister's text popped up. It was a screenshot from Facebook. Mom had written under my video, "So proud of my grandson. We raised him right." And someone had replied, "Congrats to Grandma," and Mom had hearted it. Underneath, my brother had commented, "Should have thanked the family that kept food on the table," with a winky face. I swiped away and opened our family group chat. There were 58 messages. My sister, "Congrats. We wish we could have been there, but the party was booked." My brother, "He's so long-winded. Lol. No offense. Mom, he forgot to mention me, but it's okay. He was nervous." And then buried in the noise from cousin Leela, "I'm sorry, Z. This is messed up." That was the point where the shaking came back. But it wasn't the happy animal kind. It was panic. Not for me, for Sam. For the training I was giving him by staying. I was teaching him to accept crumbs from people who took whole loaves and then posted selfies with the bread. I opened my banking app, the joint account Mom had opened for the house. Sat there checking 1,184. Balance 4,872.36. The autopays lined up like flights on a departure board. Gasco on the 5th, electric on the 10th, city taxes end of month. I knew every due date by heart. I realized I had been funding the story that excluded my child. My money made their plans possible. Cousins' days, theme park passes, parties. My son got to take pictures. So, I decided to do exactly one thing. The next morning, I put on a cardigan and flats and drove to the branch on Cedar Road where they knew me by name. Diane, the manager with coral nail polish, greeted me. "Hi, Sandra. How's your mom?" That question used to make me smile. It made something in me go still. "I need to close a joint account that I'm on with her now," I said. She looked surprised. "Are you sure? We can just—" "Yes. I'm closing my part of it and moving all automatic payments out. I understand I can't kick her off, but I can close the account entirely and she can open her own." My voice was calm. Calm is a tool. We sat in her little office with posters of people holding lattes. She pulled up the account. We went through security questions. I had my ID. I signed 3 forms. Diane explained that the funds would be available as a cashier's check or transfer. I asked for a cashier's check to myself for the full balance and a printed statement for my records. While she printed, I opened my phone and canceled the autopays I had set up with my login. Gasco, cancel. Electric, cancel. City taxes, cancel. I took screenshots of each confirmation. I emailed the utility companies from my personal email. Please remove card ending 3690 from autopay for account 233. I CC'd Mom's email. Going forward, please contact the primary account holder to set up new payment information. I texted my sister. I am closing the joint account and will not be funding household expenses. You will need to pay your own utilities from now on. She didn't answer. I didn't send a paragraph. I didn't add a threat. I just stated a fact. Diane slid the check across the desk. $4,872.36. It wasn't even a huge amount in the grand scheme of what I'd put in over years. It felt like nothing in my hand. It felt like a brick came off my chest. Do you want to open a new account? She asked. Yes, I said. For me, solo. We did. I moved my direct deposit. I set up a savings bucket called Emergency and another called Fun. I put $872 into Fun because it felt right. When I left the bank, the sky did the Cleveland thing, where it couldn't decide whether to be gray or blue. I got home and made a sandwich and sat at my kitchen table, the one I'd bought for my parents but kept when they said it didn't fit their new decor, and I waited for the noise. It started at 3 p.m. Mom called, then my sister, then my brother. Leela texted. Breathe. I breathed. The first voicemail was Mom crying. The second was Mom mad. How could you do this to me? We have bills due. You're being vindictive because of a theme park ticket. Overreacting doesn't look good on you, she said. And then, as if she remembered something, she softened her voice. We're family. We share. I let it go to voicemail. I washed the dishes from the night before. Pride is a weird dish soap. It keeps you going. The group chat lit up with things people write when they think the person paying won't ever stop. Wow. Petty over a Facebook comment. Your son is controlling you. You're letting the internet get in your head. My sister. Utilities are due. Are you happy? If Mom's lights get shut off? I texted back one line. I'm not your backup bank. Then I put my phone down and folded laundry. Socks, t-shirts. The sweater Sam spilled coffee on when he was 12. That I couldn't throw away for reasons that made no sense, and all the sense. They came to my door that evening, Mom and my sister. A wall of perfume and panic, and a bouquet of gas station flowers in my sister's hand. They usually didn't come without warning. I looked through the peephole by accident. It made them seem like they were underwater. I opened the door halfway and stepped outside, closing it behind me so the dog didn't run. We need to talk, Mom said, already pushing like the door was a thought she could break. Okay, I said. I kept my hand on the knob. You humiliated me. Your son mentions the cafeteria lady and not me, and then you close the account. People saw that video. They know we weren't at graduation. You chose not to be there, I said. And I am choosing not to pay for a family that my child isn't part of. My sister huffed. This isn't about him. This is about you punishing us because you're jealous our kids adore Mom. I looked at her. I had changed diapers and paid deposits and bought cakes for those kids. No, I said. This is about money. I stopped a financial agreement. I started. That is a complete sentence. You always have to make it about numbers, Mom said. Her eyes were wet. She looked tired, and a part of me wanted to fix it. It's a reflex. You know, your brother lives paycheck to paycheck. He has the kids. Your sister needs help. We're family. We don't keep score. You kept score with lanyards, I said before I could stop it. It came out low. It wasn't a yell. It was just true. Silence. My sister looked anywhere but at me. I'll give you this month, I said. Because I am not a monster. Because I knew bills were due, and I was the one who had set up the flights and the scaffolding they were standing on. I already canceled the auto pays. I'll send you the amount for gas and electric today. After that, you'll need to set up your own accounts and your own arrangements. If you need resources, the utility companies have payment plan options. I can send you links. Mom stared, like I had said something obscene. Links? She whispered. You're making your own mother call a number to keep the lights on. You're the primary account holder, I said. It makes sense. And Mom, I made my voice gentler than I felt. I won't fund a family my kid isn't part of. She shook her head. He's not a kid, she said again, strangled. He's trying to make us look bad online. He didn't mention you, I said. That's all. She set the flowers on my stoop like a white flag, and then, realizing it looked like surrender, picked them back up and clutched them. Be the bigger person, she said. Fix this. I was so tired. The bigger person didn't happen in a day. It happened for years. It's your turn. They left with the bouquet drooping. 10 minutes later, my brother texted, Congrats on your internet, son. Don't forget who was there when you needed a babysitter. I stared at that one and laughed once because it was either that or cry. He babysat twice. I had paid him in Chipotle. Then my phone buzzed with a different tone. Cousin Laya. I'm bringing my boys over Saturday. We'll do our own Cousin's Day. I'll bring burgers. I'm proud of you. Also, Mom asked me to tell you she's on your side, but scared to say it out loud. Don't be mad at her. You know how she is. I texted back. I'm not mad at anyone who doesn't ask me for my routing number. That night, I logged off. I deleted the bank app from my home screen. Not forever, just from easy reach. I cried in the shower so Sam wouldn't hear because that's another reflex I hadn't broken yet. He knocked anyway. We're okay, Mom, he said through the door. I know. And for the first time in a long time, I believed me. We threw our own party the following weekend. Nothing with a DJ or matching shirts. I grilled in the little backyard that came with our unit. I borrowed 2 folding tables from the neighbor and covered them with the ugly floral plastic tablecloth that wiped clean with a paper towel. I set out a bowl of grapes because my brain speaks in fiber even on Saturdays. I placed 2 extra chairs at the end of the table and left them empty, not as a dramatic stunt, just in case. I cut a slice of pie and put it on one plate, and then I ate it when the sun dipped and the chairs stayed empty. Not rage, just reality. Laya came with her boys and a bag of chips the size of a pillow. She hugged me, and then she hugged Sam and slipped him a card with $50 and a note that said, for books or burgers. My neighbor from upstairs came down with her famous macaroni salad. 2 of Sam's friends stopped by and brought him a plant he would forget to water, but we would coax along on the windowsill anyway. We bought our own Cedar Point passes that morning, just 2. We put them on lanyards and left them on the counter next to the salt. We'd go on a weekday when crowds were smaller. We'd ride the easy coaster, and then the one that made me swear off coasters when I was 20, and then walk the boardwalk and eat bad pizza. We made a plan that was ours. After we ate, the kids played knockout in the driveway. Sam stood at the free throw line and let Laya's youngest win once or twice. He laughed freely. He didn't check his phone for applause. He deleted Facebook years ago. Inside, I taped his valedictorian speech to the fridge, under a magnet shaped like an eggplant from a dietitian conference. His tassel hung from the lamp. The cashier's check stub sat in a drawer next to the warranty for a couch I never bought for myself because I kept buying theirs. Before bed, I took out an old drawing of Sam's that had lived in a stack in my closet. Crayon, stick figures, our house, 2 people holding hands under a sun. He'd given it to my mom when he was 7, and she used it as a coaster at a party. I had plucked it from the trash after everyone left, and told myself I was being dramatic for caring. I found a frame at the thrift store for $3 and hung it by our front door where the keys go. People would set down their keys and see it. That felt right. Mom texted me a picture of a bill the next week. What do I do? She wrote. I sent her the link to enroll in AutoPay. Call this number, I added. They can help you set up a payment plan. Are you happy? She wrote. I'm calmer, I wrote. I love you. I'm not your bank. Radio static for a while. Then, a month later, a text at 6 a.m., a picture of the sunrise from her porch, and got the gas company sorted. No period, no apology. I didn't need one to keep moving. At the end of July, Sam and I drove to Sandusky. We wore our lanyards like every other kid, and parent and grandparent in line. No one at the gate asked us whose name he carried. The only question was whether we wanted a hand stamp for re-entry. We laughed until my throat hurt on a coaster I swore I wouldn't ride. We ate bad pizza. We took a picture where both of us were in the frame. On the way home, Sam fell asleep with his head tilted toward the window. We had done a normal thing. We had paid for ourselves. The quiet in the car was soft, not heavy. I used to think money was the only way to help. Turns out the best way I could spend it was to buy our way out of a role that kept shrinking my son. I didn't slam a door. I just finally remembered which doors were mine to close. I set the lanyards on the hook by the door next to the keys and the framed drawing. When I walked past the empty chairs in the garage, folded and leaning against the wall, I didn't feel petty. I felt prepared. They can visit, they can call, we can meet in the middle, but from now on, the middle includes my kid. And if it doesn't, then I'm not writing the check.